we are bringing you Dynasty Win Now trade targets.
Come on,
Okay,
baby.
so if you are in a Win Now team,
Mm-hmm.
you think you have a chance to win a championship this year, we're going to bring you 4 players that we think you should go and try to trade for now.
Oh, boy.
And we did a video like this about 2 months, just over 2 months ago, but so much has changed with free agency and all these moves. So we wanted to present new trade targets. So I'll go first. My first Win Now trade target is DeAndre Hopkins.
D-Hop.
D-Hop. Okay. Now, I think we might be just dismissing DeAndre Hopkins and what he did last year. I do believe that he still has top 10 upside. Okay. For the next 2 years, I believe there is top 10 upside for DeAndre Hopkins. Now, let's look at weeks 1 to 7 this year. Okay. Because he got injured after that point, and then Kyler got injured and everything went downhill. But from weeks 1 to 7, D-Hop had 7 touchdowns. He was the wide receiver 12 in PPR, and that was with Christian Kirk and AJ Green both getting 5 targets per game, as well as Rondale Moore in the mix.
Right.
So in weeks 1 to 7, when he was healthy, when Kyler was healthy, he was still a top 12 wide receiver in fantasy. Then he sustained that injury. I don't know if you remember that play where I think he scored a touchdown, if I'm not mistaken, against Green Bay, and then he kind of hurt that hamstring.
I think
and
it was short.
From there,
it was short. I remember on the sideline, and then I remember that was a heartbreaker because I think you had him on your team, by the way.
Yeah, that was so many painful moments. But from then, he only played 2 more games the rest of the season, and then Kyler was also in and out. But they were 7-0 in that week 1 to 7. Okay, they started 7-0. They were the best team in the NFL. You know, if we're looking at win-loss record, with a healthy DeAndre Hopkins. Okay, the Cards were 3-5 in games without D-Hop. 1-3, lost 5. Let's look at Kyler with D-Hop. Okay, from weeks 1 to 7, Kyler completed 73.5% of his passes. That is incredible. 73.5 is elite.
Right.
Okay, 17 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. Let's actually then look at the time span where Kyler didn't have D-Hop from weeks 13 to 18. All right. He had D-Hop for 2 of these games, but only 2 of them. Okay. 65.3% of his passes completed, still really good, but you can see a dip, and then only 7 touchdowns and 3 interceptions. So it's clear to me that this team wins when Kyler and D-Hop are together,
right?
And that they both help each other in fantasy. Makes sense, right? An elite wide receiver helps an elite quarterback. I mean, that just makes a lot of sense. So to me, there's still production here. Let's not overlook what D-Hop is, and the age is going to drop his price, but he still has 3 years left on his deal. All right. So he will be 30 this offseason and during the season, but so will Devontae Adams. Devontae Adams will also be 30 years old. And if we're going to knock DeAndre Hopkins because of the age, why are we not doing the same thing for Devontae Adams, who is, by the way, going to a quarterback that is different than Aaron Rodgers?
Correct.
We think there's still a good connection there from the college days, but that doesn't mean that Devontae Adams is going to be as successful in fantasy without Aaron Rodgers, with Derek Carr there.
Yeah.
So why do we almost all of us have Devontae Adams in our top 12, but have D-Hop so low in our rankings? I understand, but I'm just trying to bring some more perspective there, okay? Age isn't everything. And this is an ideal situation, in my opinion, to go out and buy DeAndre Hopkins. I don't think it's going to cost you all that much because most people who have D-Hop are either trying to move on for him or uncertain because of the year that he had last year. Right. And I think his price and ADP are super, super appealing. In ADP, if you're doing a rookie startup draft and you're a win now team, ideal target for you. He went into 7-10 in our most recent mock, 7-5, 7-6. That makes him the wide receiver 32, 27, and 29 off the board. So people are valuing D-Hop right now as a wide receiver 3, in some startups as a wide receiver 4. Right. So you can go out in startups and get him in the 7th, 8th, 9th round. That feels like a steal to me. And if you're going to go out and trade for him, I think it would probably take a late 1st, early 2nd this year.
Okay.
I think you can get anywhere from the 111 to the 204. I think you can send that pick to go get D-Hop. And if you're missing a flex, if you're missing a wide receiver 2, and you're a win now team, D-Hop is a great target to go get because of everything that I just said. I feel like he still has top 10 upside for the next couple of years. He is an elite wide receiver. Don't just look at his wide receiver finish. Look at what he did when he was on the field.
Yeah, look, D-Hop could be that guy. It's going to be very, very interesting to see what happens. You know, me and Kyler Murray, but we'll see. My first win now player is Chris Godwin. And look, I like this guy, period. I like him. I think you should go get him now. Look, you probably have to pay a good price for Chris Godwin right now. Yeah. Obviously, with the new contract and Tom Brady coming back, it's going to be a little bit hard, but maybe you can get a little bit of a discount. When I mean a little bit of a discount, I mean if you're going for picks, maybe you can drop down to, 1 or 2 picks because he tore his ACL in week 15. He's on pace to come back. He probably will miss at least the first 3 games, in my opinion, because it takes some time for these guys to come back and they get the rhythm back and trust their ACL and everything going forward. So I do believe if you are a win now team or a futuristic team, this can be the perfect time, maybe not, to buy Chris Godwin. Okay, Godwin before his injury was wide receiver 6 on the year. He was 4th in red zone targets amongst wide receivers with 26 targets in the red zone. That is crazy. 4th in red zone targets. I'm saying that one more time. 4th in red zone targets. Okay, he was 3rd in the yards after the catch with 593 yards, 589 yards. Excuse me. He was fantastic. He is a prime, young, talented wide receiver that you should go get right now if you are, once again, a win now or a futuristic team. And who comes back? The man himself, the GOAT, the man, the myth, the legend, Tom Brady, TB12. It sounds crazy, but why would Tom Brady come out of retirement just to play one more year and then retire again? I don't see that happening. I see a minimum of at least 2 to 3 years, hopefully, and that's okay because in that time frame, maybe Chris Godwin is not there anymore. Maybe he does have a good, he does have a good year with Tom Brady, and maybe you can sell him. Maybe you can sell him at the end of this year, or maybe you do win the ship and you're trying to rebuild now. You're like, I won that ship. Now it's time to rebuild. But look, I think this is a perfect opportunity for you to go get Chris Godwin. What is a fair price? It sounds crazy, but I looked at Keep Trade Cut. I try to understand where these people are going for. I sent some trades and people want, a top 3 pick. I don't think I'm willing to spend a top 3 pick on Chris Godwin. And especially with that ACL, I think you can kind of milk it a little bit, especially when there's going to be reports, if there will be reports saying that, hey, Chris Godwin is going to miss a couple weeks, then somebody is maybe trying to get somebody else. I think you can get at least the 105 to 106. Try to push it there because I do believe that ACL is a big stretch and you never know what's going to happen, okay? And also, let's really think about who's going there, okay? Treylon Burks, Malik Willis, a Chris Olave, a Kenneth Walker, a Drake London. Right now, I think everyone would agree that we would all want Chris Godwin, maybe, with that ACL with Tom Brady for the next 2 to 3 years over these guys, over these rookies that we don't know that are proven, okay? We always say you usually hit 50%, was it 50% that you hit on your rookies?
Yeah, most of the time.
Most of the time.
50 to 60%.
So why not go get Chris Godwin right now? I think it's a good opportunity. I think he gets Tom Brady for the next 2 to 3 years. I think it's a steal, in my opinion.
I would say I feel like you have to take the 103. But if you are a win now team, I think that should be okay if it's the 103. And the only reason I say that is because, again, you know what Chris Godwin is. But if you can make the 105 work, that would be amazing. Yeah, and
throw that in with some other people, or a small little piece. I don't know.
Yeah, how about the 106 and Kadarius Toney, maybe?
Yeah,
right,
something like that.
It's funny that you say Chris Godwin because my last win now target is Tom Brady, the GOAT himself.
Right.
Okay. This is probably one of the most ideal win now targets there is in Dynasty football at this point. I don't think I really need to sell you on why Tom Brady is good at football. Right. We don't need to sit here and waste 10 minutes, but just a friendly reminder, in 2021, he led the NFL in passing touchdowns with 43. He also led the NFL in passing yards with over 5,300 passing yards. Okay. Finished as a quarterback 3. Has Mike Evans, Godwin, Fournette, Russell Gage. Probably Gronk is gonna retire or return. Jeez. And whoever else out there wants to ring chase. Don't be surprised if one of these big names ends up in Tampa Bay. Yeah. Wow. OBJ signed with Tampa Bay. Jarvis Landry's in Tampa. Like, don't be surprised if one of these big name free agents ends up in Tampa Bay somehow and starts to ring chase. Most of that O-line is back. And this team is easily going to win this division. Okay, they get to play the Falcons twice, the Panthers twice.
No quarterback. But at the moment,
I mean, they will easily win this division. And I think for as long as he plays, Tom Brady can be a top 5 quarterback, especially if he has these sort of weapons around him. And apparently there's a chance that he plays beyond this year. I will have to disagree with you. I do think there is a real possibility that this is 1 year.
Really think so? That just
I really think that that's a possibility.
Doesn't make sense. Why would he do that?
It doesn't have to be complicated. He
For
went
sure.
home
For sure.
and he said, "Hey, I want to play another year. Like I enjoy this, but my heart's still in the NFL." It doesn't have to be complicated. Maybe that's the case. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And maybe he did just want another year of football. This has been his life forever. So, but it wouldn't surprise me if he plays beyond that either. I mean, he's always said that he's going to play until he's not good anymore. And maybe that won't happen. Maybe he will always be good and he really has to make that decision.
He's in a bad division, so he's going to be good. He's going to feel like he's good. He's winning 8 games.
But, with Lenny signed long-term, Godwin signed long-term, there is at least a pathway to show Brady, hey, maybe we can extend you. Maybe we can do this for more than 1 year.
Exactly.
And honestly, if I go out and trade for Brady, I'm of the mindset when he retires, he retires. That's fine. Whenever that happens, it happens. Okay? He's going to retire on my team. And until that point, my win now ceiling is significantly raised. And, from what I've seen based off crowdsourcing, based off trades that I've seen, around the community, the 201 should get this deal done. So if you can go send the 201, get Tom Brady in return, and you're a win now team, that feels like an absolute steal. So if you have anywhere from the 111, 112, 201, 202, go send that, get Tom Brady, and you will absolutely raise the ceiling in super flex leagues for your win now status. So Brady feels like the most obvious win now player for me.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, TB12, Chris Godwin, do it. See what happens. My last win now player, and this may not be a win now, but I think in the middle of the season or at the end of the season, we could be having a different conversation around this name, and it is Courtland Sutton. I know it is, once again, not a definitive win now player, but let's look into him, okay? Look, first of all, let's go let's look at the quarterbacks that he had before Russell Wilson. We all know Russell Wilson on Denver Broncos now. He has never had a steady, consistent, elite, accurate quarterback. Case Keenum, Brett Rippon, Drew Luck, Teddy Bridgewater. Now he's getting Russell Wilson. I mean, it projects, I think, his fantasy value. It projects where he could finish now, in my personal opinion. In 2020, both Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf finished in the top 10. Completely different players, completely different offense, completely agree. But we know Russell Wilson could put 2 wide receivers in the top 10. It's possible.
Yeah, it's possible for sure.
I mean, if you look at it, and it was even. DK Metcalf, 1,300 yards, 10 touchdowns, 129 targets. Tyler Lockett, 132 targets, over 1,000 yards and 10 touchdowns. That is possible. That could be Courtland Sutton and Jerry Jeudy.
Right.
That can be this right here. And I think it's fair to get a 50-50 workload. It will be fantastic. The biggest question is, do you believe that Courtland Sutton will be the wide receiver 2? The expectation is Jerry Jeudy is going to be the wide receiver 1, no doubt about it. Who is going to be the second person to get it? And that's why
I think it could be an even workload between them.
Yeah, and I think it could be an even workload as well. And I think there's a lot of conversations. And once again, this team is different. He has a better offensive line. He has a better running back. He has another a good tight end, a young tight end. And then you have Tim Patrick and KJ Hamler, whatever the case may be. But I do believe it's going to be Jerry Jeudy and Courtland Sutton. We already seen videos of them working out. I mean, I was watching Russell Wilson at Seattle when he was throwing the ball deep to DK, completely different players. That can be Courtland Sutton.
Right.
That can be. He is 6'4". He can go up and get the ball. There's no doubt about that. If Russ loves to throw the ball deep, why not go and try to get him right now? I put out a couple trades last night. I tried to see what people are willing to do, and everyone's already believing that he can be a top 20. I was like, bro, what do you think about Courtland Sutton? He's like, man, he has top 20 upside. And I was like, I agree, but what are you trying to pay for it? So what's a fair price?
Right.
Crowdsourcing saying the 110 or 110 and lower. I don't want to pay a first round for Courtland Sutton right now. Am I willing to? No.
If you're win now.
Exactly. If you're a win now, and that's the thing. Should you pay the 110?
I think if you're a win now, why not?
I don't know if I want to. I don't know if I want to pay the 110, but we could have the conversation about it. For me, I'm comfortable at the 201, the 112 at most, the highest. Or you can package some people in exchange for Cortland Sutton. These are guys that a lot of people believe in, or the situation has changed, whatever the case may be. Maybe you put these guys in a package. People still believe in Michael Thomas. People are sitting on Calvin Ridley right now. Maybe you give Calvin Ridley in a pick, Michael Thomas in a pick. Hunter Renfrow, his value drops. Maybe you throw a pick and then Hunter Renfrow. And then Adam Thielen is a guy that I think of as well, at the end of his contract, and Kirk Cousins, what's going to happen with them. I think Cortland Sutton with Russell Wilson for the next 3 years minimum, they extend Cortland. If he stays healthy, I think he can be a top 20, top 15 wide receiver at best. We'll see what happens. So try and get him.
Couple things on that, by the way, because I feel like if we're a win now team, we can't be too stingy with our picks if we do these trades.
You're right.
Because
Maybe I haven't really thought about that.
Because teams who know that you're a win now, they're going to, you're in a window. And at some point, you do have to take risk to grab some of these guys. You know what I mean? Every trade isn't going to be the ideal scenario, is what I'm trying to say. So I do think the 110, 112, the 112 is ideal. The 201's even better. Yeah. But I'm just saying, I would. And the other thing I was going to say is, when you look at who on this team does it benefit more, Jerry Jeudy or Cortland Sutton? Well, Jerry Jeudy kind of more fits that downhill threat, and the deep balls feel like, to me, Cortland Sutton might get more of those.
Yeah.
Not even the speed, just the body and his play style. Okay. But I can definitely see Cortland Sutton finishing higher than Jerry Jeudy this year. While I think it will be Jerry Jeudy, I think he's a more talented wide receiver. I just think play style, I'm like, it wouldn't surprise me. So I think that's a really good, take there on Sutton.
Like I said, we could be having a different conversation week 5, week 8. We'd be like, damn, we should have been telling people about this earlier. So I hope to come back to this and say, you know what?
It's pretty damn early. Yeah. Into March.
Exactly. So I hope so. I hope I hit on this, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, definitely. I still love Jeudy, but all right, guys, let us know in the comments below. You making any of these trades? Let us know. Yo, what's good? Thanks for watching. We got a lot more videos.
A lot more.
If you want more videos,
watch it.
You can also subscribe
right now
if you want to.
You need to.
And lastly, don't forget that you can sign up to support the show and get exclusive content by going to patreon.com/Fantasyland Fam.